Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Reddit Stories. Today we'll be reading stories from Am I the Arsehole?
More than likely.
Yeah.
Not you personally, but the people on it.
Well, I'd hope I wasn't an arsehole, because then why would you be with me?
Let's not get into that.
Anyway, alright, so our first story is, as we just stated, is from Am I the Arsehole? So, am I the arsehole for acting like my boyfriend's stepsister to prove a point?
Say that again.
Am I the arsehole for acting like my boyfriend's stepsister to prove a point?
Oh, you keep reading.
Yeah,
That's a hard one.
need
Just
to get- yeah.
Title makes that one a bit hard.
Okay, so my 27 female, boyfriend 26 male, Matt, and I have been together nearly 4 years and moved in together earlier this year. His stepsister, Clara, is currently staying with us for a few weeks on and off, and that's where the problem arises. Clara has always been a princess type. That's her thing. Whatever. But it's always annoyed me how Matt reacts to it. He goes along with it completely. He is her doormat from the second she arrives to the second she leaves. I always figured that it's his choice and his business, so I never said anything about it. But since she's been staying, it's really been bothering me. He carries her things like a packed meal, runs around every morning trying to get her the breakfast she wants, makes reservations at restaurants he hates just because she likes it, and gives her free use of his credit cards to buy whatever she wants. There's other things, but these are the type of things. I feel so awkward when he's fawning over her like that. I've spoken to him about how he acts around her, and his excuse is always, what am I supposed to do? That's how she is. I asked him if he doesn't find it inconsiderate and annoying, and he said no. I don't believe him. I don't believe he could notice that the way she acts is inconsiderate. So I tried an experiment. I started acting like her last week. The last day she was here, I said I wanted fresh fruit for breakfast. When Matt didn't say anything, I asked if he'd go get some, which he did. When we went out to lunch, I didn't even offer to pay. When we went to run errands after lunch, I made him drive 30 minutes to the next town over to go to a particular shopping centre. And I took longer than usual choosing products. I also made him drive home. I could see he was a bit annoyed by me, but he didn't say anything. Later, I suggested we order takeout instead of cooking. And when he said okay, I asked to order on his app. Clara got home after we ate, and Matt spent most of the evening playing video games with her because he was clearly upset with me by this time. After she went to bed, Matt confronted me, asking if I was okay, because I had been acting odd all day. He said I'd been treating him like he worked for me, which he didn't appreciate. But if I was stressed or upset, we should talk through it. I told him that I had spent one day treating him exactly how his sister does, and he hated it. So he can't say he doesn't notice how she is. Matt got mad and said that was an insane thing to do, and he noticed because that's not my personality. He called me childish and said I'd wasted a day for nothing. It's been a few days and things have been awkward. Matt has been spending evenings gaming or with friends and has been cold to me. I don't think I did anything that bad, but my girlfriends say testing him like that was stupid. When Matt treating Clara like a baby really doesn't affect me, so I should just ignore it. Now I feel bad. And there's a little tiny edit. Clara is also 26, because a lot of people had asked her.
How old are they?
They're 27 and 26 themselves.
So they're the same age.
Yes.
Now, this is a little bit of a tough one because that's the stepsister that he's doing everything for. Now, the question I've got is, okay, maybe not every day, because if they live together, the couple live together, you go, all right, and he possibly does buy food all the time, and they do go out and they do things quite regularly, but just not every day. If he sees her, once every few months or once a year, and at this point, yes, she was living there for a short period of time.
She stays for a few weeks on and off.
Yeah.
So here and there.
Okay, and if he's willing to flash his credit card out to buy her stuff and keep her happy, in the past, as a step sibling, they may have had problems, and he's trying to keep her on the good side. and keep her happy simply so they don't have those problems again. But if your partner or wife or whatever starts doing the same thing and you start getting grumpy about it, it's like, well, if you're willing to spend $500 on your sibling, step sibling or sibling, but you won't spend that on your partner.
And do things the same.
And do things the same,
yeah.
yep. You start thinking, then you might have, like, he may have issues that he may not even know he's got the issues, but he does have them. They're just subconscious.
Well, here through the judgment bot thing, the OP has offered the following explanation for why she thinks she may be the arsehole. And then she reads, I might be the arsehole because technically I'm not affected by Clara treating Matt how she does, and I could have just taken him at his word when he said he's fine with it. Yes, okay, but yeah, for a bit of clarification,
before you go into the comments, I'm not saying she's the arsehole.
no, and
In fact, in
looks
some
of
ways,
it, most people don't believe she is.
as I say, in some ways, I think he's still probably the arsehole, but it's almost that point where you go, it's 50-50. She probably shouldn't have acted like the stepsister, but he should also consider whether the stepsister's around or not, if he's going to put so much effort into the stepsister, he should be doing that for her too. Or cut back a bit. And if she's such a princess type woman, and your partner's not that way, obviously she would like to be. He's never asked the question.
Well,
So it comes down to, now that they've had that little argument and a bit of a disagreement, he needs to go, is that how you would like to be treated? Because if you would, I can try and help you be treated that princessy,
but that's
way.
what I
But
got
from
with
what
you
she
for,
said, no, I didn't get with you for that. And from what she said, she only did it for one day. So obviously it's not something she does every day. It's just something she decided to do to see how she would be treated by him personally, not by anyone else. It was just, what's he gonna do if I start acting that way? By, you pay for everything, you help me with this, you help me with that, because I'm the princess and you're just a lackey, you're a nobody.
Well,
which means the stepsister really shouldn't be getting treated like that, because that's how she's using.
That's just
in some ways, he's not the arsehole. It's the stepsister's probably the arsehole.
Yes, but he shouldn't be going along.
No, he shouldn't be going along with it. But he's obviously got his reasons for doing it.
Actually, a little bit of clarification. I just come across some comments that OP has actually commented back to, because someone has asked, she's his stepsister, what are their family history? And she did comment, technically she's his ex-stepsister. His dad dated her mum for a few years, and I'm pretty sure in a further comment down, I read 5 years. But he became like a dad to Clara. So even after they split, he treated her like a daughter. Matt and Clara both still refer to each other as step-siblings. And then someone's right, so not step-siblings then. Frankly, feeling major ick here. Only one reason he'd put up with this, even if he's in denial. And then someone's like, they call each other, as she writes back, they call each other step-siblings, so that's what I say. So they're not even together, but obviously the dynamics were a bit different. Like, he always treated her like a daughter.
When the parents are together, they're step-siblings. Now, these two, they're not step-siblings.
Yeah, so it's a bit different now, isn't it?
They're friends. And to me, it sounds like one or the other, or even both, may have some form of attraction to each other. Possibly. Beyond step-siblings. In which case you go, if that's the case, one needs to tell the other, or they need to sort the shit out.
Yeah, okay, even when families break up, doesn't mean you can't still be close, but he's trying to start a family, I'm assuming. He's got his girlfriend, they live together.
And good luck to him, but he needs to sort his shit out with his step-sibling, because otherwise she's never going to trust her being around the house with him. So if he wants to start a family with her and have a life, he needs to talk to the ex-stepsister and say, we can't
keep doing this.
I can't keep spending money, and we can't keep having that much of a good time going out here, there and everywhere, because my girlfriend, wife, whatever they are at the time, is not going to be happy with it, and it's not you. It's the whole situation.
Well, it
is
doesn't
awkward.
look like the girlfriend believes there's anything weird going on there, but it's just
No.
the way it is. But anyway,
It's just odd.
I'll read a couple. Yeah, well, that's it. I'll read a couple of comments. So one person said, "Not the arsehole. His stepsister's behaviour is not her personality. It's what she was trained to be.
Yeah.
She's been treated that way her entire life, probably because she's a step." And the parents wanted the family to blend well and treated her that way so it would make it easier to handle her. You were not testing him. What you should tell him is that you deserve the same treatment. Exactly.
Yeah.
That he shows on his stepsister. Just because you have the ability to be independent doesn't mean you don't want to be shown that you deserve to be taken care of as well. You should also tell your boyfriend that your sister has an entitled attitude. She'll come up against people who aren't going to bend over backwards for her whims, and she's going to complain about it. That does not make those people bad people. Maybe that's just who they are, which means Princess stepsister doesn't get to be upset about it. In fact, should respect it and get along with it, no questions asked like people do with her. Stepsister needs to grow the up. Maybe your boyfriend is with you because he doesn't have to do as much work with you as he does with his stepsister. Tells you a bit about how much effort he's really willing to put into the relationship. If after one day he was mad at you instead of realizing that you also deserve to be treated and taken care of like a princess. Now,
Yeah.
I was just thinking something while I was reading that. Maybe they were really close when the parents were together, and maybe he's trying too hard now they're not together because he doesn't want to lose her as a step sibling, and he thinks he might lose her. Maybe he's overcompensating himself,
Maybe.
and she is letting him do it.
Maybe he needs to step down with stepsister and say, look,
She
I
can
can't-
see it and is
yeah.
allowing it.
he needs to say, I can't afford to keep doing all this stuff. I'm going to lose my partner. In which
Yeah.
case, you're going
Depends
to
how
lose
close
me.
the partner
Yeah.
and him are, if they're willing.
Well,
If
they're
they're,
starting a family or want to
you know,
start a
you
family.
just
with
don't
that.
know, but yeah.
But if you want me to be happy and I want you to be happy, I can't afford to go splashing cash every time you come
I
over.
love you. You're still my sister.
You're still
even
my
though
sister
our
to
parents aren't
me.
together.
It doesn't matter about the parents.
Yeah.
Screw the parents. They obviously broke up. You're still my sister to me, and I'm more than happy for you to come around for a week or here at a time, and we can play games. And you know, obviously, you just said something about they both gaming or something, and then once she left, he was gaming by himself, something along those lines. You go, if that's the case, we can still do all that, but I'm not going to go to the most expensive restaurant around the corner.
That he
And
doesn't even like himself.
He doesn't like himself and spend a fortune because that's idiocracy.
Yep.
Let's face it, that's just stupid. He needs to put some rules down when she comes down and go, I can't do it anymore. Like, it's just, it's not viable for him, and it's definitely not viable for the relationship.
Here's a bit more of a clarification info. How old is Clara and how long have they been step siblings? So I pretty much told you. She comments, she's 26, like I said up there. Their parents started dating when they were 12, so they're pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
Broke up after 5 years, but she stayed close with his dad, so the step siblings still stayed close with her stepdad, so they've stayed in each other's lives. And someone's ripped back, the same person's ripped back, no, they're not the arsehole at all. Sounds like your BF has a crush. It's not like she's a much younger sibling he helped raise and is attached to. They aren't even step siblings anymore. They're the same age, and this is only going to get worse. Who let her live with you? What happens when you're married and have kids? Or there's an emergency and he's shunning her, putting her needs first. He's obviously didn't get the memo, so I'd have one more conversation and bounce. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I get
well,
that.
from the age of 12.
They're the same age, so it's not like she's a lot younger or anything. So why did he treat her like a daughter?
He shouldn't be.
They're the
He-
same.
Same
they're
age.
the same
It
age.
sounds to me like he's treating her like a partner.
This lady said, who let her live with you? Well, they're not, she only goes there a few weeks at a time, so she doesn't actually live there, so it's only when she
No.
is there, but,
But who lets her
Yeah.
come around so often? If she's coming around often,
so,
who
just,
lets her come around and
Well-
says yes?
well, I
and if
think
she's doing it, then you
Well-
say, well, that's just stupid
the
on
OP
behalf. but-
states she doesn't usually have a problem with it, it's just the way this girl's acting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Miss
at the
Princess.
end of the day, she was deemed not the arsehole, which I agree.
No, I don't think
do
she.
agree.
I think I think actually
well-
the stepsister and stepbrother, the partner,
Mm,
are both kind of the arsehole. I think he's got. I wouldn't be surprised if they both have a little bit of a crush on
Yeah.
each other.
and it happens.
And
you hear about it all the time.
Step siblings, yeah,
You
it can it can happen.
They're not
And
married. They're not
There's no
blood
blood relation. No, it's nothing.
It still does not sit right with me, but people do it all the time. You hear about it.
Well, there's been. I shouldn't say there's been stories because I haven't read one, but there has been in TV shows. People get together, and then the mother is by herself and the father's by himself, and then they get together and then they tell
Yes,
the,
I
they
have
tell
heard them.
they tell the kids they're going to break up. It's like, hang on a second, we were together before
Yeah,
you
well,
were.
that's it. That's a bit
And
different,
it's,
I think.
it's a similar situation. It's like, oh, mum and dad were together and then they split up.
It
but
still
we're
feels
still
wrong to me.
friends.
They were together 5 years. It wasn't like the parents were only together a year or 10 months or whatever. They were together 5 years. That's a fair chunk of
Their life back
from
when they were
12
12 to 17.
Yeah, nah, it doesn't sit right.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
I believe she's not the arsehole.
No, I
just
think
like
she
our
hasn't done anything wrong.
just like our last episode when about the relationships, we stated so many times in that communication's key, and I think they really need to sit down and talk
Yeah,
because
but
it can't
this is
keep going.
communication. This is communication between the step siblings first. And
Maybe,
then,
yeah.
And then he needs to go up to
They
the
need to sit
partner
down and talk.
and say, "I'm sorry, but I'm in love with my."
Unless
my
that's not the
stepsister.
case at all.
Or I'm not in love with her. I just love her
Yeah.
as a sister, and I'm willing to help
Splurge
her
on
in
you
that way and
I'm
have a
willing
good time.
to spoil you as well, and maybe I went
So,
about it the wrong way type
There's
thing.
two ways. There's three ways.
Communication. The girlfriend and
always
boyfriend need to sit down and talk.
Everyone needs a key when they're born. They need a key that says communication. Honestly, because some people are just not there.
All right. Well, as we said, not the arsehole, and that's about all there
I
is
don't
to
think
that
she's
one.
an arsehole.
No.
She just needs. It shouldn't even be on Am I the Arsehole, actually. It probably should just be under.
She just feels like she might
what's
be an
that?
arsehole. She's trying to get clarification.
It should be on relationship advice.
Yeah.
This one, honestly. That's
Anyway.
probably where it should be.
All right. Let's get to the next one.
Alright, let's get to the next one.
All right. So our next story is: am I the asshole for wanting my fiance to move jobs to be closer to my new job? All right. So for background, I've been with my fiance for 6 years now, and we've lived together for almost 6 months. We were long distance for 3 years, and he moved across the country to live with me. He got a job as a pharmaceutical technician about 2 months ago at, in brackets, insert pharmacy chain store, and he chose the location because it was relatively close to my work, 15 minutes. We're currently sharing my car, so his work being close to mine was a must. However, his work is on the opposite side of town, in a bad area and almost 30 minutes away from home. This week, I got a new job making a lot more money. I'm a lawyer, and I'm really excited for this opportunity. It is also only 13 minutes away from home. However, it is in an opposite direction from my fiance's job, turning a 13-minute commute into almost an hour. There are no bus stops close to us, so he would have to buy a bike and do a combination of biking and bus riding. And if he does buy one, there's a good chance it will be stolen considering where he works. I tried to talk to him about transferring stores or working a different pharmacy, but he told me that he really likes his co-workers and he doesn't want to leave his job. I'm glad he's enjoying work, but practically it makes more sense for him to work close to my work, or at least closer to home. He got mad at me for pushing him about it and told me he's just going to buy a bike and ride the bus, even if it does take 1 to 2 hours. Should I just leave him be and let him do what he wants, or can I convince him that changing his job makes more sense? TLDR. I tried to convince my fiance to switch jobs somewhere closer and more convenient for us. Am I the arsehole? And there is an edit. To address the financial situation, my last job was really bad. As a lawyer, I was only making about $2,000 a month. With my fiance's $1,500, we were barely making ends meet. That's why we don't have a second car yet. I'm hoping that my new job, $6,000 a month, I can get him a car soon. Thought I'd add the edit in straight away so we can get a bit more context.
Okay, so she's going to get $6,000 a month. He's on
1,500.
About 1,500. If she's willing to pay for a new car, it's only going to take a couple of months.
But it means he has to leave a job he
Yep.
enjoys. So
No. Where he is now, it takes a couple of months, deposit on a car, It has to be a cheap one to get him from A to B.
Well, that's
Doesn't
it.
have to be anything special. And there you go.
Yeah, okay.
She sounds like she's being a little bit greedy and wanting to go
Yeah.
from because I'm guessing she lived her job previously was
Near his job.
near his job, so
But
it was
now
in a
it's
bad
closer to
area
home.
as well.
Well,
Now she's gone to the bigger, more poshy type job, whereas he's like, no, I'm happy with my co-workers, I'm happy doing my job where I am.
she's scared his bike will get stolen. What's bike locks for?
Oh, there's
I know
more-
they
yeah,
can
I
get
know.
cut and...
Yeah, they can get cut and all sorts of stuff. But it's still, there's such a thing as an honest thief. But the thieves that would be willing just to write off on it, but as soon as they see a lock, they're going to walk away. So
Yeah.
she needs to think about that, and she also needs to think about if he's happy there, you need to make it work. And if he's willing to do the ride and the bus trips and that, you go, well, okay, let him do that. And if he loses a bike and has problems, then he might very well consider going, okay, as much as I like my co-workers and
Yeah.
stuff, I will go move to a place in the same area.
But
But
that
otherwise-
should be his choice.
It's got to be his choice.
If he wants to take an extra 1 to 2 hours to get to work, well, so
That's
be it.
his choice. But also, in a few months' time, you'll be able to get him. You'll be able to afford another card of some description. It doesn't have to be, like I said, anything special. Just an old bucket of bolts running around from A to B. When you go out for tea and go to, family members and stuff, you take the better car. But for him just to go to work and back, it doesn't matter what it is. He just
Well,
wants to
that's
get
it.
there and back.
Well, the OP has offered the following explanation under the judgment bot thing again. He does really like his job, and I might be putting my job over his by asking him to move jobs. Well, we've already seen that.
Sounds like it.
All right, so we'll jump into some comments. The first one, you're the arsehole. The guy already sacrificed to move cross country. Let him put down roots at a workplace that he enjoys. You treat him like he doesn't have an autonomy and identity. And someone comment back, all of this, you do not control anyone but yourself. Since you're making such good money as a lawyer now, buy the dude a car, then you don't have to worry. This whole scenario is ridiculous and you're so self-centered. Why are you sharing a car? Why is it not okay for him to commute to work how he wants to? Where does it say you have to drive him to work? Get over yourself and let the man live like the adult he is. And someone's like, this is everything in a nutshell, OP, you're the arsehole. And do you know what? I look at that. She's now only 13 minutes away from work, which isn't that hard to get to. Why doesn't she give him the car, let him drive?
That's a valid point.
She's
but
pretty close to home.
everyone else has basically said it, or especially I think it was the first comment was he moved across country to be with her and then get a job doing what he could. And you go, well, if he's done that already, and
Why don't
you're
you
whinging-
sacrifice?
you're whinging about a little extra 30 minutes or whatever a day driving, get over it.
Yeah.
You really
He's
need
already sacrificed a lot for you.
Exactly. He's probably away from family and friends and stuff
Yeah.
to be with you. You need to get over it and just
Yeah.
sacrifice a few extra minutes a day for your commute. So you get up a bit earlier in the day with him,
Yeah.
take him to work, then drive back, or give him the car
And you.
and use public transport to.
Well, there's no buses in that close by, but I'm assuming
but you
it'd
might
be
need
a
a
taxi or something like that.
might be a 5-minute
Or
walk
is
to
it
the closest.
cab or whatever they call
Oh,
it.
what do they call it over there? It doesn't matter. It might be a 5-minute walk to the nearest bus stop. She just doesn't want to do the walk.
Well, it states there's none nearby. That's what he'd be an extra an hour or two by riding to the public transport to get on it, to get to his work. So they obviously don't have public transport close.
But that might be to go one way across town. The other way, where she's got to go, might only be 5 minutes away. So
It does state there's none nearby anyway. But
There's
yeah.
none nearby, and that's one of those things that unless you had a map, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Get an Uber. 13 minutes.
Get an Uber or a taxi or
It's
whatever, and
really-
just don't worry about it.
No.
But honestly, someone, and I think she needs to make the sacrifice in this particular case for weeks, maybe a couple of months,
Yeah.
until she can go, okay, I'm going, even if she says, I'm going to buy myself
And
brand new car. That's fine, because if she's making a lot of money, go buy yourself a brand new car, but keep the other one and give it to the other half, and he can drive to and from work. Neither one of you have a problem with getting to work anymore unless the car breaks down.
I'll read a couple more comments. So I kind of think you're the arsehole. There is no point in your post where you are considering his feelings or needs. It sounds like you expect him to adjust his life and schedule to best accommodate your new job. Perhaps try considering if the roles were reversed, how you might feel. I think there should be a middle ground option that you can both agree on. Can you both do the long car commute for the interim until you can afford a second vehicle?
Yep.
Consider the commute time as an opportunity to spend time together. If this job is in the bad area of town and further away, and assuming your new job is closer and safer, is there an option where you take the bus and he takes the car? Exactly what Will was just saying, you know?
Well, look at us at the moment, because you're not allowed to drive. I do the drive, but you come with me.
Yeah.
And it's not because you have to. It's a little bit extra time together. We get to have a couple of conversations at half
All
time.
the kids have been dropped off.
Yeah, especially when
I
the
think
kids
a
are all gone.
2-week-old laying in a car seat's
She's
not
not a
going to make
problem.
much
No,
noise.
and she's not going to remember anything. But it's like we get to have those couple of conversations that we don't have at home, because there is the kids around. And you go, well, we can't talk about that because the kids are up and
Because
stuff.
usually you come home and get ready
Yep.
to go out to work and...
Exactly. And it's like, oh, we can have a conversation about A, B, C, D, whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps you go, oh, well, it's only 5 minutes down the road or 10 minutes down the road. You go, oh, in that short period of time, we can get a few things, whether it be off our chest or something we just need to straight out discuss before the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that's
We can
it.
do it, and there's no kids around.
Yeah.
Obviously, kids aren't a problem in this situation, but it's like, if there's such a time gap between workplaces and that extra few hours...
Yeah, I know, a bit of
is-
extra petrol, but it's only for a short term.
Exactly, because once there's two cars, guess what? There's more fuel, there's registrations, there's tyres, there's going to mechanics, whatever the case may be. Two cars still cost more than one, even if you still need to use just the one to go from A to B to C and then back to B to back to A, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it may seem like it costs a lot just in fuel, but if you've got two cars running, and we know it, there's a lot more expenses on top of just fuel.
Well,
Fuel
that's
is the
it.
least of your worries in the long
Yeah.
run, because there's so much other stuff on the side that all of a sudden pops up and you go, oh, I need to pay for that. And you go, how am I going to do that? And if they're already, before she got the job, they were obviously tight when it comes to money.
Yeah, well, that's what they stated, yes.
Now she's got a better job. There's a bit less of that situation, a bit more money, but you buy a second car, things will get tighter again. So she probably really shouldn't be whinging too much about taking him to work and picking him up, because, yeah, everything's going to change with a second car. And even though it sounds stupid, but a second car makes a difference in your life simply because of the costs outside of, fuel, really. Everyone thinks, oh, you got a second car, you got to pay for the fuel for it, and you go, yeah, but you got to pay for everything else.
Yeah.
And things, if it's overseas, like in America, which I'm guessing this probably is.
Not necessarily. Reddit's all over the world, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Australia's actually, well, most states in Australia have very lucky with how things like registration and that goes. It's pretty easy going, but in some countries, especially over in Europe, it's unbelievable how it works. Like, we wouldn't understand it at first. It would take us months to get used to it. So we have it easy.
I might read a few more comments and then we'll see what we think. So, you're the arsehole. Your suggestion is sensible, but he can make his own choices. He already moved to you once and chose a job close to your job once. Give him time before more upheaval. Someone else goes, you're the arsehole, but buy yourself a new ride and let him continue his daily commute. He already moved clear across the country for your convenience. This last is one move too many. You're the arsehole. This whole post is about you. When 6 months ago, he uprooted everything for you. Now he's just feeling comfortable and you're wanting him to change things again, purely to make it convenient for you. Nowhere do you really consider his feelings. And one more. You're the arsehole. Your boyfriend is happy where he is. I encourage you to let go of your shoulds and all the idea that you are right and let him be. I also encourage you to see a therapist and examine your own issues around the need to control him circumstances. Well, that's not
far from the truth.
She seems to be more controlling, and it's a partnership. Being in a relationship is a partnership. You cannot be more dominant than the other.
No, it doesn't
Your
work.
personality might be, but I mean, like, you have to make decisions together. You can't be, no, this is the way it's going to be, unless it's dire and
Look,
it has, you know.
When we go out to darts and stuff, I might say things that sound like I'm being, and I admit it, I sound like things that I'm being dominating, but the people we know well there, and both of us know that I'm being stupid. I'm just messing around. It's not
around and
it's not fact.
And I get it.
I just
like,
say stupid stuff.
And people do look at it and I'm
go,
like,
oh, what?
I know you well enough to know.
They say, how do you... They probably think, how do you let him treat you like that? Because I don't treat you like that.
We
I'm
know
messing
each other's
around.
banter, but other people don't
It's
always.
a 50-50.
Yeah.
It's an unwritten 50-50 contract.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship, you have to agree on things, and if one of you disagree and the other one's agreeing or going with it, you go, well, now we have to find that middle point.
I guess the only time that can change is if it is a life or death situation and you got no choice to make that decision.
Yes,
you know,
that's
completely
that's
different.
So
And
far,
yeah,
so
that's
far
it.
in this, I'm saying that she's been.
But yeah, she's the arsehole in this context.
I
She
reckon.
really is.
I
in
think
this.
she's the arsehole. I don't know if it's up on there as deemed the arsehole. But
It is. She has
well, there
been
you go.
deemed the
She's
arsehole.
deemed the arsehole, and I think she is. She needs to step back a bit and go,
Yeah.
okay, how can I help him help me in a funny way?
Yeah.
If I can help him do something in particular, in which case it's probably travel, which obviously is what she's whinging about. It's more about the travelling. If I can help him get to and from work for the next few months and sort a car out, I can have a car to get to work, he can have a car to get to work, and everyone's happy. And that's fine. Then you go, well, good, you can both get to and from work every day of the week. After that, you get your weekends or your time to yourselves and have a good weekend, have a good time, and then start thinking about your future even more so. But she's just like, I don't want to do the drive for him.
Yeah, nah.
So, yeah, it's
Well,
sweet.
anyway, at the end of the day, she's the arsehole. We agree with it, and we will get on to the next story. But before we do, we are still relatively new to Reddit. So if someone could actually drop in the comments below what TLDR stands for, it would very much be appreciated.
Yeah, I know when you said that, I'm like, oh, what does that mean? I was trying to figure it out, but I thought I'd pull my phone up and Googling that would probably be a little bit inappropriate.
So anyway, on to our next story. Alright, our next story is, am I the arsehole for telling a couple that I'm not their charity case?
Probably.
I've been raising my 8-year-old nephew, Jack, after both his parents died in 2019. I went from being a 34-year-old bachelor to being a single dad overnight. I don't regret it or anything, but it has and does require a lot of sacrifice. My brother made good money and invested into a house before he died. It's been rented at a loss because the rent is less than the mortgage and other costs, but it will be worth a fortune when it is paid off. So I'm basically paying for an 8-year-old and a house I don't even live in. I also have Jack in a private school. This summer, Jack wanted to go to a sleepaway camp. It's for 6 weeks and I could only afford 2, even though it's a 3-week minimum. He left last week. Out of the blue, the camp called me up and said someone wanted to sponsor Jack for the whole summer. I was confused. They said a pair of angels heard of my hardship and wanted to help out. I said I wouldn't even consider unless they told me who was paying for it. Eventually, they said it was the parents of a boy who was an acquaintance of my son. They act like they're better than everyone and come from old money. I've heard them say nasty things about the people that they've helped. I reached out to them and said my finances are none of their business and I'm not their charity case. I'm not here to make feel better about themselves. They were taken aback by my response and asked me to think of Jack. I said your attitude proves my point. For the record, Jack has a fun summer planned out, which includes many play dates and trips with his cousins, and his other uncle is taking him to Legoland in a couple of weeks. He's not working in the mines this summer. Alright, so I'm going to read the edits that are here because it will give us more context of what we believe. So the edit is the house was half paid off when I took possession of it.
Okay.
It cost me $400 a month to keep it. I would have lost like 80 grand before the mortgage is paid off, but the house can easily sell for $1 million. Why would I sell a house at a loss when I can keep it at a loss but then sell it at a gain in 15 years? And another edit, and this is probably maybe what will deem him an arsehole in a way. You damn right that the house is mine. Why shouldn't I be compensated for raising my nephew? So he should get it. He's $250K and a house, whereas I find myself in debt at 53. He's already starting off at an advantage, and if I should die, then he gets a house or whatever I have from selling it. It's a small compensation to have saved him from going to foster care. I'm sure my brother and my nephew would want me to have the house for putting my entire life and future on hold to raise him. And also, again, in the judgment bot, the OP has offered an explanation. A rich, snotty couple offered to pay for my nephew's summer camp, and I declined because they're not his people, and I refuse to be their charity case.
It's very complicated.
It
There's
is
so
like
many
look,
layers.
good. Like I'll have to say, good on him for taking on a nephew. He's
yeah.
single.
Yeah.
He was only 34. He obviously wasn't with anyone, and he's taken on this 8-year-old boy
Which changed
while
his
dealing
whole
with
life.
grief
Yeah, you
as well. You know.
put the grief aside because you lose a family member. There's 99% of
But
the time
sometimes
there's
you
grief,
have to accept help.
and yes, sometimes you do have to accept help. But it's
I guess he didn't
He's-
like the people that wanted to help him. But he didn't have to know
And
who
if-
it was. He pushed
Pushed.
to find out who it was, and he didn't
but
like
if
the
he'd
people.
already
There's
if he'd
not-
already heard stories about people that were pushing to help, he may have
Well-
had a rough idea who
well,
they
this
were.
couple that helps, supposedly they talk nasty about the people that they help out, whether that's true or whether that's a rumor. It's a really hard one, this one, because sometimes you need to accept help.
Oh yeah, without
But
a
I
doubt.
get why he didn't want to, but also then when he, in the edit, how he said, why shouldn't I keep the house? Yeah, fair enough, and it was already half paid off, but that should be half
How
that.
much did you say he had to pay off still?
400 a month.
80 grand or something in total he had to pay off.
No, he'll
still.
be out by 80 grand by the time it's paid off. I think it
Yeah.
was already halfway paid off.
So he's got 80 grand to pay.
No, he was 80 grand out, so with interest and all that, he'd be at a loss by 80 grand, but then by the time they sell it after it's paid off, it will be worth a lot more.
So even if he sold it now,
He needs to put some money of that into a trust for
But-
that young boy.
yes, I'm not going to argue that. If he sold it now, he might not get much out of it, but
That's
that
why he wants to
finalise-
keep it as a loss.
keeps it as a loss. But then he really wants to put it into the kid's name.
But he reckons he won't be doing that. You're damn right that house is mine. He's pretty much claimed that house. But that's not the-
probably why. If he's, I don't know.
I guess
he's-
that's not the point of the post. The post is by refusing to accept
Help.
help because he's not a charity case for his young boy that could have been at the camp for a lot longer if that's what he wanted. That's what this post is more about.
Okay, but he already had. Well, the kid
The
actually,
kid
by the
had
sounds of it,
plans, but they
already
couldn't-
had plans.
probably
but
because
yes.
he couldn't originally afford to send him for
And
the
that's-
6 weeks, so they
yeah,
made plans.
They
but
made plans, but
I think it's just the way you went about it. He pushed to find out. He could have left him as anonymous and allowed it, but
and changed plans.
he wanted to know who it was, and then when he found out who
That's-
it was, he didn't want to accept it.
That's
But,
a
Yeah.
bit tough, and I feel sorry for him because he isn't stuck between a rock and a hard place.
yeah.
Where you go, you're stuck with another kid that isn't yours, whether it be a relative or something like that. You go, this is an extra kid that I've got to deal with. No
What's
doubt
it?
you love them to death because they're family.
And that's what he said. He doesn't regret it, but
Yeah, he doesn't regret it because he's taken on his brother's kid.
yeah.
So
both parents died. So
both
I'm
parents
assuming
died,
a
yes,
car
and that's
accident or-
that's sad in itself.
But
you
he
go,
wasn't willing to accept the charity because of where it was coming from.
that's almost a very what's the right word? He's
He's got to think of the little boy.
very, I can do it all. You know, I'm trying to think of the right
Yeah.
word. I just it's
But
not
at the
coming
end
to
of the
me.
day, the reason why is he didn't like the people that were going to offer to help.
People are going to look at this and know straight away what the word is. He's very
Stubborn.
if stubborn's one word, but you know he's looked at it and gone, no, everything I'm going to do for this kid is going to come from me.
But he
He's going to do everything possible for his nephew.
Yes and no. He sounds a bit selfish when it comes to the money and that.
Exactly. He's a little bit selfish that he doesn't want to take anyone's help.
But he's also pretty much stating the house is his. Is he going to be giving that little boy any of that money? Yes, if he dies, the boy will get the money. But if he doesn't,
But if he has to pay a couple $100,000 on the house over the next however many
well, what
years,
about the half the brother had already paid before
Yes.
he died? That should go to the
But
son.
just say it's a couple $100,000 he has to pay, so $400 in total between him and his unfortunate loss of his brother. But the house is, once he's finished paying for it, it's going to be worth $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if there's written in the will from the brother saying that
there could be.
in the long run, it doesn't matter whether he sells it straight up or sells it when it's finished paid off, half of it will be going to his son.
Well,
So it doesn't.
yeah.
So he might be being greedy, saying, "Well, if I pay a little bit more off, I'm going to get more. I'm going to get $500,000." So that's just being a bit greedy.
Well,
No doubt.
all right, well,
But it also looks good because then, how old was the kid?
8.
8. That kid's going to be close to 20 somewhere, and going to get $500,000.
Well, if that's what he would
And
do
I'd
for him.
imagine by the time he's 20, 25 years old, he's going to be, I'd rather my parents and all that sort of stuff than just
Yeah.
money. But
Well,
he's got something, and he can also go up to his uncle that he's been living with and say, I love you, I thank you, even though
but I guess,
things weren't 100%, but it probably goes the right way.
I guess we're a bit off
But
topic
I
here
think
because
he's
this
a bit
one
of an
is
arsehole.
to
I
find
think he's a
out
bit of an arsehole.
about to do
Yeah.
with the charity case. That's
Yeah.
what this is about.
That's
But
wrong.
let me
Just-
read a few comments and we might be able to get a bit more context to it.
I'd say, you know, if
Um,
someone's willing to pay the extra few weeks for a summer
Yeah,
camp,
and if that's, maybe talk to the boy and see if that's what he wants.
yeah. I mean, summer camps aren't a big thing over here because summertime
It's
over
called
here.
a sleepaway. I don't know what.
Don't do them here because summertime, all you want is an air conditioner.
Yeah, pretty much. Our 6-week break is right through summer.
Yeah, you want an air conditioner set at bloody 5 degrees because
Alright.
it's too hot.
I'll read some comments and see
And
if
I'll
we can
say,
get a bit
when I
more
say 5
context.
degrees, I mean 5 degrees Celsius, not 5 degrees Fahrenheit because that's pretty cold. But
Yeah. All right. So
you want it cold because there's a lot of places in America and in definitely overseas in the northern hemisphere that do not get as hot as we get here. So summertime, our summertime is a lot different. I mean, we have Christmas in summertime, and we're sitting out in back verandas having a beer, whereas everyone else is sitting inside having a bloody hot chocolate. It's like that's the last thing you want. So
all
yeah,
right.
it's a bit different, but.
Okay, so some comments. I get it, I really do. Everything you said makes sense. However, the only person who loses in this scenario is your little nephew. For
Yep.
that, I have to say that you kind of slightly are. That said, you're otherwise a saint for everything you're doing. Very slightly mild, soft as possible, you're the arsehole.
Yeah.
And then someone commented to that. At first, I did agree with your point. The fact that Jack wouldn't be able to attend the entirety of the camp sucked. Having angel donors literally willing to pay for the rest of the camp, but saying no seemed a bit selfish. However, the fact that these angel donors negatively talk about everyone they help out is an issue. If you want to help because you can do it, but don't help just to talk shit about people who aren't financially where you are. Kids listen to adult conversations all the time and
Yeah.
like to repeat. There's no need for OP to potentially put that stress on a child who lost both his parents. Besides, he has a summer planned out. He'll be perfectly fine. Not the arsehole. So it's a bit hard. A few people.
see-
It's going both ways here.
I've-
So
I know. I'm sure it is because this is a 50-50 type
yeah.
thing. I've never heard of angel donors.
I guess someone just called it that when they rang him out. He's an angel. They're angel donors. They're
might
angels for
be-
doing it. You know,
But it might be a whole
it could
a
be.
corporation. Well, not corporation.
I don't think so, but it could
Corporations
be.
rip you off. It might be a whole society of people, and they call
Yeah.
themselves angel donors, so they get money, and then they go, "Oh, this little kid needs money to go. What 2 weeks he could pay for, not the other 4 because it was 6 weeks, and the minimum was meant to be 3." And you go, well, if these people are even willing to just pay for the extra week to do the minimum of 3, you go, well, you should be thanking them and saying, I appreciate that so much. You know, like, I just could not quite afford the 3 weeks minimum.
Yeah. But they allowed him to
And
still
if
take
that's-
him there for 2 weeks.
As I say, if that's the minimum, they still let him in for 2 weeks. You should be grateful to the people that are organising the whole thing, because they still let you put him in there. So he is being a little bit greedy, obnoxious, if that's the right word. He's being a little bit, I don't know, self-centered. I think he's probably in the wrong, not all the way, but he's probably a bit of an asshole, because he's just not, he's thinking probably a little bit more about himself than he is his nephew. But, I mean, he took the nephew in, and he's, in the long run, the nephew's probably still got a roof over his head, food in his belly, a school to go to, all that stuff. But in this particular post, I think he's being the asshole. In the long run, he's done a great thing. In this particular event, he's being a bit of an asshole.
Alright, some more comments. I was going to call you an asshole until I heard them say nasty things about the people that they've helped. Then I agree with you. I will not accept money or help from someone who I hear insults previous people they helped, not the arsehole. Someone goes, I'm going to agree here, not the arsehole, based on their prior behaviour. You and your nephew don't need to be the topic for the next nasty thing that comes out of their mouths. Sure, you could have declined in a nicer manner, but I can't really sympathise with anyone who talks shit about people they helped. They can get their next tax write-off or good feelings from elsewhere.
Yeah, wow. See, that's another thing with charities and stuff, especially I know over here when we've had, you know, bushfires and stuff, and I've seen how much money, like, or the percentage of money from certain charities has actually gone back to the people that have suffered from it, and you go, well, what happened to the rest of the money? And that's when, if I had the money, I'd go directly to the people that are affected, and I'd give them the cold hard cash, because you go, some of these charities, you do ask yourself, where's the money going? Some of them are legit, some of them are even like, I don't care if we've got the money or not, I'm going to help them, but there's others out there that I swear just don't care.
Alright, one more.
That's another conversation, isn't it? Really,
that's it.
That's a whole different story, and you know what? We can probably find a subject for that, because it really is a different thing. So.
Alright, so I'm sorry, you sound like a very decent guy, but in this case, you're the arsehole. Your behaviour was completely OTT. Other than the camp people using the ridiculous term angel, I really don't understand why you're so angry. You have 2 people who learnt that your nephew wants to go to camp and that you couldn't afford it. So they try to anonymously pay this tuition. If you didn't want these 2 paying for your nephew, the correct response would be no thank you. You tell them your finances are none of their business, which is completely true, but it's not like these people pulled your credit. They obviously heard your nephew saying he wanted to go to camp, but couldn't afford it. There's no indication that they think you need charity or that they're only doing this to feel better about themselves. Your behaviour was just really inappropriate. And as for these 2 saying bad things about other people they've helped, I'd really need more info before I work that into the equation, because frankly, if I spent money trying to help, for example, a recovering drug addict get back on their feet, only to learn that she's using it, I might say bad things too. I'd also like to say this: your nephew is going to inherit the house and be on his way to a very comfortable fortune. Accepting this very generous gift and having a great time at camp may make him more likely to do the same to other kids in the future. ETA. I reread your post. The more deeply I read it, the more I think you're the arsehole in this situation. Once the camp official told you the name of the sponsors, you could have simply said no. Instead, you call these people out of the blue to them and start running them down. It wouldn't surprise me if they stopped donating to this camp. The camp officials apparently broke their anonymity. And maybe pulled back on their help in general because what anonymous beneficiary wants to deal with the subject of their Largis verbally abusing them. So the camp's in the wrong. They shouldn't have come out, but
But a lot of that's valid. Like, I understand where that person was coming from to a degree. He could have just stepped back and said, no, thank you very much. Put that money towards something else, probably more important. Say, my nephew, he's right. He's got 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever they're giving him in total. He's got time there, he'll be right. Put that donation to someone with real serious problems, you know, like things that are life-threatening or whatever, you know. Someone's in like, we've both been to the Children's Hospital in Melbourne multiple times, and we see what's going on there, and you go, we thought one of our kids had problems. And when you go there, you go, they have nothing compared to what some of those kids have down there. They have such big problems.
Yeah, it does make you feel really.
And you go,
and it's good.
It almost makes you feel.
Donors and charity people out there that can help.
But you walk in the door there and you almost feel guilty.
Yeah.
Because you're walking in holding hands with your kid and it's like, you know, what are we doing? And it's like these people in wheelchairs, like these little kids, are in wheelchairs and stuff, and you go, they obviously have a bigger problem than what ours do. So you go, oh God, you do feel guilty. I mean, this person's probably got to be deemed an asshole, but
well, at the end of the day, yes, he was deemed an asshole. But throughout the comments, it was very
up and down.
There was some not the asshole, there was some asshole, but at the end of the day, it was deemed that he was an asshole.
I think
so.
He may have been deemed the asshole, and I know there's lots of stories, especially am I the asshole, that you get deemed the asshole and not the asshole. But sometimes it comes down to your own personal beliefs or theories.
I think the way he went about it, he's an arsehole, especially about the house thing. And
the house thing's stupid.
Even though that's nothing to do with it, he's just put the edit in. I think
that's nothing to do with a kid going to a camp.
No, I think people must have asked him, but at the end of the day, the way he went about it, he should have just left them at Angel Donors. Don't ask questions because they were anonymous.
Yeah.
The camp shouldn't have said who it was. And then if he didn't want the help, told the camp people, no thanks.
I'm good.
But the way he went about it,
And if the camp said, well, sorry, we need a minimum of 3 weeks, you've only got 2, we can't accept it, organise the extra couple of weeks with
well, they allowed him to go. And that's why he has organised other activities.
Even with, but if I hadn't have said...
Oh, yes, they would have found things to do,
That extra couple of weeks, say, either take time off work and spend time with your nephew.
Yeah.
Or say, you know what? You've got other aunties, uncles, you got your grandparents, all that sort of stuff. We'll organise time with all of them and we'll make it so
he's going to Legoland with his uncles, so other uncles, so...
Well,
yeah.
Legoland, I reckon Legoland would be a great place to visit. I reckon it'd be so cool. I was watching a thing about Legoland and they got bloody vacuum cleaners, like air suctions over the top because they have to glue all the stuff together to make sure it doesn't fall apart when they take it out. It would be something to see, but that's beside the point.
All right,
I think it'd be something great to see Legoland because some of the stuff they have there is just unbelievable. And you go, who the hell designed that? Because it is awesome.
Anyway, at the end of the day, he's been deemed the arsehole. I think the way he went about it, he's an arsehole. Hey, I've got nothing against him taking his nephew. I think that's a wonderful thing he did.
I think that's great.
But the way he went about it, yes, I think he's an arsehole.
The way he went about it for the camp and the thinking about the money of the house
and stuff like that. But anyway,
that's more or less what it was.
Yeah.
I think his biggest. I think probably why he's deemed the arsehole is more about.
I think there was a couple of people that changed their mind when they read the house thing, but even though that's nothing to do with their questioning.
But he put it up there. I'm going to get money from the house. And it's like, hang on.
At the end of the day,
that was your brother's house.
Yeah.
And that
he's still got to pay half of it off. So half of it will be his kind of thing.
But you go.
Yeah. All right.
If your brother was still around, that would probably end up going to your nephew.
It would.
And you go,
Yeah,
so none of it
so-
would have ended up yours, and I don't know where you're living right this second, mate, but
No,
We'll
it's,
just live in an
it's
apartment.
renting out as a loss. Anyway,
yeah,
all right. At the end of the day, it's done, and
He's an
let's
arsehole.
get on to our next story.
I reckon.
Alright, so for our last Am I the Arsehole story, this one is Am I the Arsehole Sporting Rivalry? So, always a good one, I guess. Alright, so Am I the Arsehole? Me, male 24, my fiance, female 24, had our firstborn son a week ago. My in-laws are supportive, kind and loving towards us, which I am very grateful for and make sure it's known, as I love the fact my fiance and child have such a wide support network. Now the problem lies with a soccer rivalry. I support Manchester City and my fiance's dad supports our rival Manchester United. It's a big rivalry in Manchester. Me wanting to be traditional, I am dressing my son in Manchester City kits and merch on occasions or plan to June games, as that's something I think would be custom for a new dad and son. During my partner's pregnancy, the granddad kept on pushing that he was going to purchase Manchester United kit for baby. This at first started as banter and a back and forth with me saying I will not allow it, mainly joking. But as time goes on, I can't help but feel like he is trying to undermine what I want with my son while going through babyhood when he can't make his own decisions for himself. He keeps pressing the issue, and now baby is here, he still insisting on doing it. I now find myself just saying no out of principle, as I'm trying to make it clear that the decision lies with me and partner, and if we say no to something, that should be the end of the matter. I understand it's just a sporting rivalry, but it's turning into the principle now. If my son decides to support the same team as his granddad when he's old enough to make decisions himself, if he's interested in it, then I would by no means force him to support the same team as me. But while he is a baby, I should be able to have my time with him with things that I am interested in. I think it's every dad's wish to have a son with similar interests as themselves. But of course, if this isn't the case, then I'm sure there are plenty of other things we have a common interest in. Cheers for reading, peeps. Am I the arsehole? I don't think so.
No.
I get the granddad, grandads like it too, but
Let Granddad buy that stuff.
if he wants to,
If
yeah.
he really wants to. If he's keen to. And
At the end of the day, we can choose whether he put it in, him in it or not.
Yeah.
They can,
I mean, but in the long run, it's
it is.
anyone that's
down to
interested in sports,
Yeah.
like obviously to that degree, is going to push a point for the kids to go for the same team.
Of
We do
course. Well, I was going to say here in Australia we support the AFL. You're Essendon, I'm St Kilda.
Yeah.
But you don't have that problem because both the granddads of our only son supported Essendon.
Yeah. I know.
So you don't really have that problem. Me, on the other hand, if I
Well,
try to get him to go for
I
St
converted
Kilda,
one of them from St Kilda.
and that was your stepdaughter, so
Yeah, I know. It took me a couple of years. We're good. And one's Essendon, the other one's
back and
back and
forth.
forth. Well, she goes for both.
The other
she
one's
can't make up her mind.
only two. He doesn't understand.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
So your only son, I guess, maybe I'll let you do it. Not sure yet. And then the other one's, well, way too young.
Oh yeah, that's different.
But at the end of the day, I get it. Like, a bit of joking, yeah, that's one
You're joking
thing.
that, but you'd think the father-in-law, he doesn't say that whether he's got his own son or something. So in a funny way, his grandson is a little bit like,
And
you
look,
know.
let him buy just let him
dress the
buy
baby
it
up and take some photos and
for
say,
him,
here you go.
and then you could take him straight out of it, or just let him buy it, whether you put it on him or not.
Yeah, it's not so much the
I
buying
get-
stage. If he bought it, and like if it was me and they bought it, I'd put him in it just for the photo.
I get where the dad's coming from too. If that's his
Yeah.
only son, it's like us. We have 5 kids and only one son.
Yeah.
So, it'd probably be nice and let you have your little Essendon boy, but you won't let me have any of my St Kilda girls, so I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll... no.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
How long ago was this?
Only a day ago. We've got a lot of early ones here, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, congratulations to them both for
Yeah.
having their first kid, and right around the Olympics. That's interesting
Yeah,
as
there's a
well.
lot of sport going on there.
Um,
Look, at the end of the day, we're not soccer fans. The Olympics, we watch the soccer play because that's our Australian team, but we're
That's
not
about it.
soccer fans. But it's just the same as AFL. Like, it's a rivalry. You
Yeah.
know, there's how many Victorian teams? There's a
I
few.
can't remember the teams now.
So, there's different rivalries there.
There's 18.
Me
There's
personally-
18 teams, and I think about 12 or 14 of them are just in one state. So
Me personally, the rivalry is if any of my kids ever go for Collingwood, they'll be out that door saying no. But seriously, that's the one team.
yeah, but that's just
When
how
I
it works.
grew up-
I think that works in the country.
You either go for Collingwood or you hate them.
Yeah, it's a bit
But
of
then I grew up
it's an
with
unwritten
my
rule.
dad. My dad hated Collingwood. It is. It's
Yeah.
a bit of an unwritten rule, but yeah, here
It's
it's a
a-
bit
It's different to soccer.
yeah. Well,
Because soccer goes. I'm guessing this is coming from.
England. It sounds
England.
like Manchester. So
Manchester.
yeah.
So, not only is he barracking for one of the Manchester teams,
Yeah, I
but
was
it
gonna
goes
say,
from.
the other one's barring from the other Manchester team.
It's-
So yeah.
It's a worldwide sport. So,
Mm.
like AFL isn't worldwide.
And I'm guessing the two Manchester teams, they would be rivalries. So,
Oh, they'd be two in the
Mm.
same town.
look, I don't think this father's an arsehole for wanting his son to be able to be dressed in his stuff and not wanting the
I
grandfather
don't think he's
to
an
buy
arsehole.
the stuff. I don't think he's an arsehole. But unless
That kid could go for a completely different
well,
team.
and
when
he
he's
doesn't
older.
mind that when he's older.
Mm.
But I guess a granddad, I don't think's an arsehole
He's not an
either.
arsehole
Really,
either.
he's just maybe been a bit more pushy than he should, and he should
No.
leave it down to the parents. But hey, my dad was the same. With his
Wasn't it
grandkids,
weird?
he would have loved his grandkids to go for Essendon, but he didn't push it. But he'd muck around it,
Oh yeah, but that's natural, and you know what? In the long run, I'm pretty sure that the grandfather's gonna get over that.
Yeah, I think
Right.
they all will. I think this is one that they'll get over.
It's
But-
a I don't know if it was deemed the asshole or not, but I don't think
I'll tell you soon after some comments.
anyone's. the
I don't
arsehole.
think anyone is, but
There's not an
anyway.
asshole. It's just a. Yeah, it's probably on. It should be on a different subreddit, I reckon.
Yeah, possibly. All right. Well, I'll read some comments. So, which is what we thought. Not an arsehole. As a blue myself, I see two adults trying to push their decisions over which team to support on an infant who will outgrow this kid before Garnacho scores. I'm guessing
Right.
that's a soccer player.
Yep.
Anyway, let him buy the kit for the sake of a good relationship with them. Make sure you get all the first with little dude, and he'll probably rather be dressed like his dad than his granddad. Odds
Yeah.
are you're the one with whom he'll be watching most matches, so it's likely he'll be a blue. And that's true. Just let the granddad
He
buy
might-
it for him, but
He might watch the two Manchester. the
I'm
teams
guessing
play
blue is
with-
one of the Manchester
Yeah,
teams.
Oh, I'm just gonna tell you. But
Because
the
it
two-
said odds are he'll likely be
he
a
might
blue.
sit there and watch both teams play with his dad and his grandfather.
Yeah.
But every other game they watch, excuse me, will end up being more than likely just with dad.
Well, that's it, and that's what this
So-
guy says, and it's true.
Yeah.
Two adults trying to push the decision on an infant that it's only a week old.
In a
Wouldn't
funny
even
way-
know what's going on.
The father and the grandfather both need to grow
They
up.
just-
Grow up a
yeah.
little bit, like you just said. They need to grow up and just
Yeah.
calm down a little bit and just let Bub when he gets
Yeah.
older will work it all out.
Well,
I'm
that's
sure.
it. Oh, we've got a 5-year-old that's still back and forth between both our teams. If they chose any other team, but Collingwood, who cares?
She probably will. She'll choose a different team.
My brother, he met someone that had never supported footy in her life, and everyone kept pushing, you got to go for one or the other, this and that. So
goes
she
for a different
just
team.
she chose one of the newest teams that
Yeah.
came into the competition.
Probably the smartest
So,
thing she could have done
yeah.
too.
She's like, no, I'm going to do this. So, but someone commented this, very fair. I've had the conversation with the fiance, and it's not even a case of, oh, sorry, this is OP, sorry. Very fair. I've had the conversation with the fiance. It's not even a case of me pushing my boy into it. He could turn around and not have an interest in footy. I just feel like the granddad is being rather pushy with it, which is ticking me off a little bit. If he asked us once, I'd have probably let him get the kick, but feel like he's almost chasing my authority as a dad too. But wise words there, sir. Any reply to replied, be appreciated to that again, but appreciate the response and up the Blues 5 in a row. I don't know if they won. I'm guessing they won 5 in a row.
I'm guessing that.
So the OP, yeah. So he just feels if he just asks once, but he's must be asking constantly.
Yeah, must be.
Alright, so I mean you'd probably be the arsehole if you made a big deal about it and took it too seriously. There's nothing to stop your in-laws buying United kits for the kid, but you don't have to dress them in it. Sounds like your father-in-law is looking for a reaction. Your best bet is to realise that it's not going to affect you or the child really, and let him do what he wants. In the meantime, you can leave any red kit at the back of the closet and dress your kid the way you see fit. So far, not the arsehole. And that's true. It's not like he's trying to make the hugest decision that he's, I don't know, like some massive decision that is going to affect the child for the rest of his life. It's not like it's just over. And
it's a football
outfit.
Yeah, it really
it's
isn't.
really not a big deal.
He's come on here really just.
Yeah.
He's more looking just for a little bit of advice, like.
Yeah, and I think the
ways.
granddad, like someone said, is trying to get a reaction out of him.
He got one. Went
Like
on the internet. That's a pretty good reaction.
Let him buy the bloody outfit.
Yeah.
You don't have to put him in it. Like someone said, put it at the back of the closet.
Yeah. Was he the asshole?
Nope.
No, I don't think
No.
he was the asshole.
So I'll read one more comment. Not the arsehole. I get how your team is important to you, but your kid doesn't give any shits about it.
No.
That's it. As a newborn, he'll grow out of the shirt in a month anyway. The only person who cares about this is you, because it's your team. You say you don't want your father-in-law to make decisions for a baby who can't make his own mind up, and yet here is you putting your own choice on the kid. I'm going with not the arsehole because I know how much team rivalry matters. So you probably don't want to be parading your new kid around with the rival shirt, but also your father-in-law isn't an arsehole. He's poking fun at you. Your kid is never going to remember this. I'm just here quietly hoping the kid grows up to be a United fan.
Well,
you had to put that little bit in there, but it's true. Neither of them are arsehole. I think this is a bit.
In some ways, though, right? He's making a bigger deal out of it, like the father.
Yeah.
He's making a bit of a deal out of it, but it's just one of the things you do with your own kids, especially when they are so young. You sort of go, oh, the little things like sports and stuff, you do choose for them to a degree.
Yeah.
So
we had a little Essendon. I even brought it. I don't know why. An Essendon jacket that went through our kids. Unfortunately, I gave it away before our little baby was born because didn't think we were going to have another one. So we don't have it anymore. But
it's just one of those things. But yeah, I think in the long run, not the arsehole.
Nah.
Nearly as bad as each other.
Well,
and the baby's caught in the middle.
To the comment I just read, there's a couple of replies to this, a couple being from the OP, but I'll read the rest of them. You say you don't want your father-in-law to make decisions for a baby who can't make his own mind up, and yet here is you putting your own choices on the kid. Yeah, that's called being a parent. Parents call the shots over what their young child wants and when their child doesn't or can't know what they want. If father-in-law doesn't recognise that, then these moves need to be nipped in the bud now because it will be something more important in the future. And someone else wrote, slight difference between I don't like the sport team and therefore baby will not wear the sports team shirt, and I don't want my kid eating sweets late at night. And that's kind of what I was saying, but I was more talking to the bigger decisions.
Yeah, that's true.
The OP ripped back to these. This is genuinely my exact thought. Yeah, it's just a sports kit. But what if I don't want my kid eating sweets late at night? Is it okay for granddad to go against that? Small signs often turn into bigger, more important issues. Personally, I feel like father-in-law is quite controlling over this, his daughter, my fiance, and may feel insecure about me being the man who provides and protects her now. Just a thought. And then he also said, must have been to one of them comments that I just read. Fair comment. We have been saying it would be hilarious if he turned out to be, the top one, be a United fan, but I hope not. And you know what? He's right there because, our kids have got their grandkids, and yes, sometimes they do things we may not want them to do. Oh, here's this and you know what? Sometimes you'll let it go, but some parents hate that because it means they're gonna try to enforce bigger things on them. But little things like, hey, don't tell your mum, but here's something that doesn't bother me. It does bother other people. It doesn't bother me. They're gonna spoil their grandkids.
That's what grandparents usually do.
But some people but then what about when it comes to bigger issues? What are they going to do then? Are they going to enforce that as well? I get it.
Well, we're lucky because with our parents,
they know
they're
the
not
boundaries. They're not
bigger issues.
Little,
they're going to leave it up to us anyway.
I know not everyone has that, but yeah. Anyway, it's not really. I just thought it would be a fun one to finish off the episode with. It's not a massive big deal. I just thought, a bit of fun and banter and read some comments.
Yeah, different one.
Yeah.
A quieter Am I the Arsehole?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think wrong spot for it. Sport. Something
Yeah.
sports would probably be better anyway.
But anyway, that's it for us for today's episode. Tonight's episode. Hope you can like and subscribe to our channel. We'll have some more content coming up very soon, and make sure to comment below if you have anything to say about the topics that we covered tonight.
Yeah.
And see you next episode.
So,